Do you have any other sort of information about the ATM business or anything like that, or just the space in general? What coins you're watching, or any interesting projects that you're interested in at the moment?
Absolutely, man. So one thing that I use the ATM sort of as an indicator of an impending move.
Yeah.
And I it's funny because there's a you're not able to track the volume that all of these Bitcoin ATMs do
Hmm.
as you would an exchange. So there's a whole other world out there. When we look at the exchanges, that's the volume that's done on the exchanges. Those are the buys and sells on the exchange, and you can track that.
And take out the wash trading. It's quite hard sometimes to work out what the actual traded amount is.
It is, but you're able to extrapolate something and see
Hmm.
movement. On when it comes to OTC, you're not able to see that demand.
Yeah.
So when we have two sides of the puzzle, and we go, it looks bullish on a chart on trading view from whatever exchange or all the exchanges with the volume and the price action, and then also your ATMs are just getting slammed. You go, oh shit, like there's something really happening.
Yeah.
On the flip side, when it's kind of sideways action on the charts and your Bitcoin ATMs are getting slammed,
Yeah.
to me that's always been a good indication of a move really shortly, because I got to tell you, people are smart. They buy the dips. They really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
They don't like Bitcoin. I've had more interest at these price levels than I did when it was 10,000 this last time.
Yeah.
I thought 10K was gonna be like, all right, here's that FOMO level, baby.
Me
Let's
too.
go, everybody.
Yeah.
And it was sort of lackluster.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. So
And
it's been interesting the last couple of months. That's for sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it
I'm
was.
interested to see what's going to happen now. Like I'm watching it, and we just had a bit of a rise, but I did say when it was 10 and a half, we had this golden cross, and a lot of people were saying, it's going at 11, it's going to 14. And I said, watch it, it could be a fake out. And I actually remember saying, I thought before the halving, I was going to see a $5,400 US Bitcoin, and we did, but I think it was more to do with the panic and the corona. And then you had the BitMEX going down all on the same day. I wasn't expecting, we've had a good rise back up though. So we'll see. Who knows? It's Bitcoin. Normally does the opposite of what everyone's thinking. So
Bitcoin will make you wrong.
yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what you're thinking, Bitcoin's going to prove you wrong.
Long term, I mean, you got to think about sound money. I mean, look at what the US is doing now. Just the constant printing. Or all the countries are doing it now. The printing and the devaluation of the dollar it's going to be some interesting times ahead, I think. So that's why I like Bitcoin. Is that you've got the scarcity part of it, and the halvening. It's reducing the supply. It's got a cap supply. That's why I like Bitcoin personally. So,
and I think those are the best reasons to like it. You know what? Most people, they don't really care that it's not immediate. They just care that it's 100% reliable.
yeah.
And I've personally never seen anyone not get their Bitcoin.
Neither have I.
Even
Unless they've sent it to
yeah,
the wrong address, it's on them. But if same, it's sometimes you've got to take a little bit of time for transactions. But you've got computers all around the world doing that sort of computation. So it does take a bit of time. But I think it's great. It's based on mathematics, not on a central party determining whether that transaction should go through or not.
precisely. Yeah, precisely. And there's a lot of narratives that float around, and there are really good projects, but I still think Bitcoin is the one to stay,
Yeah.
regardless of the speed. And I know, and block size debate and all this bullshit. Man, I mean, I could talk about this all day long, but
Well,
the
well,
proof
just on
is in the
that,
pudding. Yeah,
going through, I guess, the forks, the Bitcoin core, then split to Bitcoin Cash, split to Bitcoin SV. It really did a number on the community, didn't it? It really had a lot of infighting, and I just feel that had they have stuck to the one project or the one code, we'd be united, and it'd be a very different space right now. So what's your thoughts on that?
My only beef really is with the it's not the forking, and it's people the people who forked it, and the questions that people have about its fungibility, or how quickly people have relevant concerns about how usable Bitcoin really is at a high adoption rate.
Yeah.
It, I get it. My only beef was ever forking it and then calling it the real one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what made me and then stealing the name,
The website, and promoting it as the Bitcoin. I know exactly
yep,
what you're
yep,
talking
yep.
about. Yeah.
And that made me absolutely crazy, because what you did was you made an otherwise okay token, okay coin, and then you rode the coattails of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and it rubbed me the wrong way, and it was
Well, it also confuses new people to the space, or elderly or older people. They go to that website we're talking about, and they think they're buying the genuine article, and they're not. And
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't help anyone really. And then there's people are stuck in a coin that's not really, the granddaddy.
Yeah, it doesn't. And things like, when it comes to cryptocurrency, they should be promoted on their own merits of what they have to offer, and not any other narrative, sneaky, manipulative
Mhm.
BS. And that's the problem. I mean, can you blame anyone for seeing what's happening with the forking and the I'm Satoshi and all this, and saying, I'm staying the hell away from this, because
Yeah,
this is insane. This is too much drama
yeah,
on
yeah,
top of the volatility that it comes.
yeah.
Like it, I can't blame anybody for not wanting to buy it.
I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah, they got to get their shit
um,
together. But
absolutely. I think so. So that's my big beef, and you know, I'll always stick to do things on your own merits.
mhm. Is there anyone in the space that, I guess, not that you look up to, but I guess, look up to, or you see as influential in the space? Who's is this? I've got quite a few, but who's that person for you?
That's a good question.
Videos, books you've read, maybe even just an evangelist, someone that's been talking Bitcoin or got you involved, someone you saw.
Huh. Yeah, there are a couple good analysts that I always. Nick Core, a buddy of mine.
Nick Core's awesome. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's solid, and he and I have a great relationship, and his TA is second to none. He doesn't he deserves so many more followers than he has,
I've watched a lot
he's
of his TA actually. It's really good. Yeah, I
really
agree. I'm surprised he didn't have more. Not that I can talk, but yeah, I think he's really good actually. Nick.
he's a good guy. He's a genuinely good guy, and Crypto Wendio is cool. Noir, the cigar. Have you seen? He does cigars and crypto.
Yep.
There's a lot of real cool dudes
Yeah.
and girls.
What do you think of Bitlord?
Bitlord, I think he's
A troll?
hysterical, and he knows how to get you.
Yeah.
I don't take him seriously. There's some people that you just do not take them
No, you
seriously,
can't. You can't.
exactly. But I think he's funny. There's a
He's
lot of
awesome.
really
I think
really good.
you need someone like that in the space. He's
Yeah.
someone taking the piss, and he doesn't take himself too seriously. I think he's a lot of fun, and people that do take him seriously, please stop. And I'll be honest with you. This whole COVID-19, he was the person I found out about it from the first. He was the one I saw in China at the time, in Beijing, and he's doing videos about, like, guys, there's this flu coming, and it's getting pretty serious over here. He was the first person I ever heard it from, and then weeks later we started hearing it on the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was stuck in China there for a while.
Yeah, yeah. That was a an epic saga that he played out there, and that's going to go down in history. That
Oh
whole
yeah,
story, how it unfolded,
yeah,
and he did it so well. He's a talented guy in what he does.
yeah,
And you know, one day I'll meet him and shake his hand, and because he's just a really funny guy. He seems like he would just be one of my friends.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
anyway, yeah, he's good. I like Andreas Antonopoulos. I did an interview
mhm.
with him a few weeks ago.
Saw
Um,
it.
yeah, and he's an interesting guy. I would have loved. I mean, I really probably only got through about 8 questions with him. You know, time was short. Could have sat there for hours, but
Yeah.
he's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of good books out, and even on Ethereum. You know, he's got books out on Ethereum, and he's right in the space. He's out there talking at conferences and so forth. So he's someone I look up to.
Yeah, he's definitely an authority. I think the space is at the point where we've chased out a lot of the bullshit
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
and the cream is kind of rising to the top, and
yeah.
we've all kind of grown together.
Mm.
Such a small community,
It
and
is.
we've
Yeah.
all sort of helped one another out for the most part,
Mhm.
and grown together, and also the scams we're so hard on them now,
Yeah.
and it's getting harder and harder to get away with bullshit. It really is.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, I'm only just new, not new to the space. I got involved. I got interested in 2013. 2015 where I actually took the dive in, but I've never got involved in YouTube, Twitter, and so forth. It's only been 3 or 4 months, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I'm just starting off. It's hard yakka at the start. You got to get some followers, put some content out, but yeah, I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines since 2015, just watching, doing my own thing, working, and I started the channel to, I guess, educate people, particularly my family and friends. They kind of look like, well, they look at me when I'm talking about like I got two heads. So I just thought I'd put out some videos, and that's how it started. And it's actually become a bit of a passion. I love putting videos together, particularly interviews, and that's why I really want to thank you for coming on. There's some people that might have some, you know, never seen a Bitcoin ATM before and wondered how they work and what's behind them. Again, I haven't used one, so I thought it was interesting to get you on and talk about your business. And I love the the interview part of it. So yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you as well. You're a really personable, easygoing guy, and you ask really relevant questions and smart ones.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I think you know, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, man. We'll keep cracking on.
And
And what do you see? I guess one more question we'll do. What do you see Bitcoin doing in the next 12 months? No prediction. We won't get locked down to anything.
no, that's all right.
I mean, my
Man,
personal opinion is it really. I kind of don't care too much. I've said on my videos before, I'm happy for it to be a market for the next couple of years. I know a lot of people aren't, but I just use it as accumulation. I'm in it for the long term, 5, 10 years, and so forth, and something I can pass down to my kids in the future. So my, I guess, goal isn't too much to have all-time highs this year. It's 5 or 10 years down the track. We'll see where it's at. What about yourself?
you know, I used to be able to get a read a lot better than now. I can't get a read on anything
Yeah.
anymore. I think personally, this is what I think, man. I think 14,000 is it's going to be a long time before we see 14,000 again.
Mhm.
That was the level where this last time it rejected from hard. I think it's just going to range, and it's going to rip people's faces off both ways,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
as it always does.
Wick up, wick down.
Yep, yep. And 14, if it hits 14,000 and actually maybe at least consolidates there for a little bit
Yeah.
and continues on, then I'm going to call all-time high soon.
Yeah, it needs to get that the higher highs. We need to. We didn't get that. We got to 14, and then we come back to 11. I think we've had the lower highs. So I guess yeah, we've got to see that pattern up rather than the long pattern down. So yeah, fair enough. I
Yeah,
wasn't going to lock you into any price, but yeah, I think I agree. Let's got to get to those higher highs. keep going, and then it'll just going to rip through that all-time high. So I know about the 50 or 100,000, maybe 30, 33, 35,000. We'll see.
That's a little more realistic, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think
have
it
a
is.
couple people that said, that the next all time high is going to be about 80,000.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And
Yeah,
when I hear that, I'm like, man, bullshit. But then also, look what it did before, and it's entirely possible.
yeah. It is. It is, and especially when I think at the last or the all-time high, the market cap was about 800 and don't quote me, 820 billion roughly.
Yeah.
And that was a $20,000 Bitcoin. So I'm excited to even get to the $1 trillion mark. I think that's going to be an absolute milestone,
Hmm.
and it's something we can build on from there. That's what I'm waiting for. I mean, 1 trillion. It's a big number. You've got 7 or 8 trillion in
Yeah.
gold, and to get to 1 trillion in the whole crypto space, anyways, it's going to be amazing.
That'd be huge. Let me bring something up that, and I'm sorry, I could talk about this forever, but I'm having fun with you, man.
Yeah, yeah,
It's funny because um, there's a lot of people who believe in it, and you get these high pumps, and they're almost always associated with the dump,
yeah,
you know. But a lot of people they say they hate fiat, and it's pointless and it's useless, and this is why I buy Bitcoin, and then they're all waiting for that all time high so they could sell it
yeah.
into what they said that they hated and into
Yes.
what got them into it in the first place.
Yep.
And so there's a conflict there. There's a hypocrisy there. It's
Yep.
very easy to fall into. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think we need both. There's a place for fiat. Guess what? There's a place right now in our system for banks,
Yep.
whether or not you agree with them. You need a mortgage. You don't. At least right now, that's the best way to get a house to live in. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that there's a place that exists in the ecosystem for all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Bitcoin is definitely in there. It's when you lean on one side or the other, it becomes too easily to be to become a hypocrite,
Yeah.
and just accept that there's an equilibrium to be met between all of this.
Yeah, it's not gonna it's not gonna replace everything we have. It's not gonna do anything like that, but it could work in tandem or alongside it. And I don't think we're going to get that mass adoption until the technology catches up. So we're able to do faster transactions. You're able to give an app to your mum and dad or your grandparents, and they're able to use it. Systems, more adoption from shopkeepers and so forth. Your mum and dad may shop online, but probably not a lot. And if they do, they wouldn't know how to use Bitcoin in association with shopping online. So I think once a lot of that technology comes along, and we do get that scale. And you're also talking about when I talked with Andreas about not so much the unbanked, but the underbanked, getting that to them is gonna. I think they're going to get more benefit out of it than someone that's already got a bank account.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So
absolutely. Hey, what is your preferred crypto for the fastest transactions? What do you like?
for fastest transactions,
What do you use? What do you
well,
prefer?
Bitcoin Cash works really fast.
Yeah, it does.
Unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It
It's not
really
unfortunate. Yeah, yeah. No, it does. Yeah.
It does. It's really efficient. So it makes you wonder about the whole, bigger block size debate, and maybe that could have been brought into Bitcoin Core, and maybe we'd have a different product. Bitcoin Cash is super quick.
It is.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie, but it depends. Like if you those sorts of transactions. Look, I haven't had much to do with the Lightning Network and so forth. So I think smaller transactions for making a coffee and that, I'm not sure about that. I haven't really done that. But I don't mind waiting for processing time, confirmations. I've bought software programs using Bitcoin. I've bought quite a few things, and it's something you're not urgent on. It works well. The fact that I can send it to anyone without anyone's permission is great. There's no one in between. But I think for you, there has to be another solution there if it's not already there. Um, I haven't used obviously XRP. It's not as decentralized as Bitcoin, but I think it's got if it's got legs, it's doing seconds, transactions in seconds for a penny of the cost. It might be about moving across borders and so forth, but I'm not sure what they've got in terms of adoption and mass adoption and purchasing at shops and things. I don't know how far that's coming, but what about yourself?
I've used them all,
Yeah,
and I like Litecoin,
yeah, Litecoin.
and I like I've used XRP. It's by the time you press that button, it's there. You're like,
It's
what
there.
the
Yeah,
hell? I have used Bitcoin Cash. They're all when they're all that fast.
mhm.
It's hard to notice which one is faster.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You
right. And
know, you,
well, something frustrating for me was I'd like to use more. And you go to the Bitcoin Cash, there's a map, there's this thing where you can see where all the retailers are. And there's three in Sydney, uh, and it's a big place, and there's three in Sydney. And I guess part of the problem is there's not people out there pushing it. There's no money to get that adoption for retailers. It should be, I guess some people are scared as well, but there was three retailers, and I rang one of them up, and it was new owners, and they weren't. So there was down to two people that used in the whole of Sydney. Um,
mhm.
so adoption is, I think, a long way away, and I think it's more of the underbanked is where the adoption is going to come from, and then maybe later on it follows. Yeah,
Yeah. Where is the um like if someone were to like if a store were to take it, where's the payoff for them to take it? With the volatility and
that's
I
right.
mean, do they get dividends? Like where how do they go from adopting a new system in addition to what they already have to this new cryptocurrency with a learning curve?
Yeah.
What's in it for them,
Well, it's got to be
really?
less. It's got to be less fees than Visa and Mastercard for one, surely. And then, yeah, they also got the issue with the volatility. So, are they really going to hold on to it? Probably not. They're going to exchange it straight into fiat because that's what they pay their bills with. So, eh,
Yeah, so those questions, those problems and issues, they just haven't been solved yet.
that's right.
Um, and maybe they're on their way, maybe they're not. I think I'll tell you one thing that's for sure: people are getting sick and tired of this government bullshit
Oh,
from all over it,
100%.
that's an obvious problem.
Yep.
That now they're looking toward anything else, and they're saying, "What are you going to deflate my money?" They see what happens in
Well,
Zimbabwe and
was it
everywhere.
6 or 700 billion on I think the first announcement? I know it's up to about 2 trillion, but a total package of 6 trillion. But I'm just talking about the 700 billion that was first announced, and that's 5% of America's GDP. So if you had $1,000, it's now worth 5% less than it was because there's more circulation, there's more supply. Um,
Yeah.
I just see massive waves coming. We saw all the markets dipping. We obviously saw Bitcoin take a huge dump, amongst other things. I mean, within that dump to 3,700, there was, you had the BitMEX liquidations. Okay. You also had a wallet from 2010 that moved 1,000 Bitcoins. Okay. He's obviously taken some money out, safety. Okay. You had a whole host of things that sent it down. Um, when everyone's scared, they're going to take their money from everywhere. Um, yeah, it's going to be interesting times ahead. I don't think there's a lot of faith in the currency. I see a big bank run coming personally. If people haven't already got their money out of the bank, I see a huge bank run coming. That's why you had there was a video there about basically trusting the banks, and no one's lost a dollar since 1933 from a bank and so forth. It's propaganda. They're obviously scared there's going to be a bank run, and I think it's coming. And something that got me interested in Bitcoin was back in the Greek and the Cyprus financial crisis, where you had the bail-in and you had ladies, well, anyone, going to the bank and there's no money in the bank.
Our feeling is it's not easy to explain because before 1 month you are a rich and now you are a poor man.
You know, that's what got me sort of thinking. You had people losing, I think it was anything over 100,000 euro the bank would take. You had people's pensions, you know, and that's kind of scary. Like if times are tough, they can do whatever they want with your money. They're going to take it. It's just
Yeah.
numbers to them. And that freaked me
It's
out.
crazy,
And
huh?
that's what got me into Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it should freak you out. We should all be scared shitless. It's funny because like this COVID, although it's a disaster and it's really unfortunate. Um, this may have been the catalyst for a huge awakening globally, where people really start thinking what value is to them.
Yeah.
When people start really thinking about what's actually important to survive
Yep.
and to be a civilization, and how important your neighbor is.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have just been a blessing in disguise. I think it really is. After it's all over and the dust settles, I think we're going to find a lot of things are going to change. I hope so. Humans have a horrible memory
Yeah.
of the bad times that happened because, you know, we get eclipsed by all the good times and we forget what it is to feel desperate and to be afraid and to rely on someone else is, especially with a family or kids. You don't want to have to, I don't want to ever have to feel like, I don't know if I'm going to live or die. I don't know if my family is going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
What a horrible feeling nobody should ever have to feel that. And I pray that this is going to be the rude awakening for a lot of us. The government is going to do for itself what it can to stay alive, right?
They've already said that they're prepared to print whatever they have to in order. It's
not for us. It's for them to continue operating.
Yeah.
We have to do what we can to stay alive. You know, and we're different from the government. So it's
something I've always wondered about with the bailouts and so forth. That a lot of this money isn't just going to families. You know, I think we worked out it would be $20,000 to each family. If that went directly to the family, a lot of this money is going to big banks and corporations and bailing them out. My question is, when those corporations are doing well, where's the money coming back? You know, it's bailing them out, but in good times, surely those big companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, can sustain themselves for 6 months or 12 months. You would think with their multi-billion-dollar profits. It's interesting. You get bailed out left, right, and center. But when times are good, it's I guess it's just helping their company or the shareholders. You know, it's not helping the American people.
No, it's not. It's not helping anybody. And it should be a crime. What are you talking about? We have student debt is the highest debt in all of America. It's before credit card debt. It's before mortgage debt. Student debt, and you're not going to bail out students. And I don't really believe in socialism. I am a capitalist, but also, what the hell are you doing? You're going to bail out the bank again? People are just sick of it. People are sick of this.
Absolutely, and, it happens all the time. You know, it's going to come to a grinding halt at one point. So, anyways, look,
we opened a bag of worms, man, and that's why, you know, Bitcoin is great. We just have to be mature enough and responsible enough to use it correctly.
Yeah.
That people do take it seriously as a viable option to their deflationary currency, you know?
Absolutely. Corey, look, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and good luck with all your business. I hope business booms for you. Okay, particularly in the next bull run. You probably had, I'm guessing, a tough couple of years. I guess where adoption was less, and you had a lot of people drop off. So I hope it comes back to you. No,
no, man. It's only gotten better. It really has. Okay. There is a huge demand for Bitcoin. Let me leave you with that. That's up or down. People want it.
That's great. That's great to hear. I thought you might have taken a real hit. You know, like that's good. That's good to hear.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky. But thank you for having me on.
It's all right. Well,
yeah.
maybe we can catch up again sometime.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Corey. Really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.